Luke McMaster joining me this morning in studio. We're gearing up for tonight's concert from McKenna Hall. Luke, welcome to Weyburn.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
You just kicked off your tour, just over a week ago. How have the first few dates been going so far?
Really good, yeah. We're already, like most of the shows, we're planning the next time we're coming back, which is always good. Yeah, people seem really excited. And I'm a prairie boy and seeing a lot of familiar faces and meeting a lot of new people, and I can't wait for tonight at McKenna Hall.
Yeah, it should be lots of fun. Lexi T going to be opening for you. Have you met her yet?
I haven't met her yet, but I've heard, and I can't wait. I'm actually going to be kind of, maybe I'll try and sneak out into the audience and listen. It's awesome.
All right, so you've had a different opening act for every date of your tour so far.
Yep.
Maybe talk a bit about the tour.
Well, it's called the All Roads Tour, and my album's called All Roads, and I have a single called All Roads that you guys play, and it's about love, but it's also about life, and the song is about how, you never kind of go in a straight line to get where you want to go, but hopefully love brings you back to what's really important. And that's how this tour is to me. When I was talking to Golden West Radio about doing a tour, my first ever solo headline tour, I wanted to call it the All Roads Tour because I was so appreciative that Golden West was doing this for me, and hitting all these great communities that I grew up spending time in. All roads lead me back, so I'm really excited. It's just amazing.
And so for anybody going to the show tonight, what can they expect to see?
Well, they're going to see a little bit of everything, actually. People are kind of surprised because when we first start out, we actually have a guy named Chris Briscoe who is a DJ. He's the head DJ at the Hard Rock Cafe in Toronto, and he starts out spinning some tunes and doing some kind of record scratching type stuff, and then we do a couple songs that are pretty high energy, a Motown song by a Hall & Oates cover, and then we actually strip things down, and it's me on acoustic and our guitar player plays mandolin. So all of a sudden we're really a little more folky, and then I do a song with my piano player, and there's a lot of harmony. There's something for everyone, but the common thread is that all the music is fairly positive and romantically themed, and it's a great date night, but it's also great if you're just into music. The musicians are incredible. My guitar player is incredible. Aaron, my keyboard player, amazing. So, and I know that I've had a lot of friends that have toured and stopped in McKenna Hall, and I know it sounds great in there, and I can't wait. It's the first time I'm playing McKenna Hall, so.
Oh yeah, it should be good. Sounds like a lot of variety in the show. Wow.
There really is, yeah.
So this is your first headlining tour, first ever solo album. How is this experience different for you than tours you've done in the past?
Well, my first tour, believe it or not, was opening for NSYNC and Christina Aguilera, so it's a lot. It's just, I started off in a very strange way with McMaster and James, where I went from being in bar bands and busking on street corners to, within a year's time, playing Air Canada Centre and touring coast to coast with NSYNC and McMaster and James, and then, I ended up writing songs and producing for a bunch of other artists. By a bizarre series of circumstances, I ended up working with Rihanna, Nick Lachey, and just writing and producing other bands. But then the whole time I was always singing and playing, and any records I would produce, I would sing all the backup vocals and stuff, and I would go to open mic nights still, and I still had that singing bug, even though I was having a lot of success as a songwriter for other people. So I finally had so many songs that I felt were better suited for me than someone like Rihanna or whatever, so I just started recording them myself, and before I knew it, All Roads was emerging as an album, and then it kind of kept spiraling from there, and I had to, I just was like, I gotta set up a tour, and I want to do, this is my first chance to play all my material, and then Golden West Radio, we're at Canadian Music Week. Richard Croker and Doug Anderson were at Canadian Music Week. They saw me doing this showcase, and they were like, yeah, we want to present your show, and do a prairie tour in places where you grew up, like, Portage and Winkler and Weyburn, and and Moose Jaw, all these places where you grew up, and call it the All Roads Tour and that whole thing. So it's pretty different because like I get to play 2 sets of my own material, all like it's a lot more. To me, it's kind of more fun, but it's a lot more pressure too because I'm not just an opening act, and I'm not able to just do a few songs and then if it doesn't go well, I can go and hide under the rafters. I have to I have to really bring it, and I kind of thrive on that pressure, and I'm so excited about so many of my new songs too that are really being played for the first time at shows like tonight at McKenna Hall. Like I have a few new songs, one called New York City, that's my new single. That these are some of the first times I've played the songs, and it's been really fun, and yeah, so hopefully we can, I'll remember all the words and we can do a good job tonight for you guys.
So have you ever tried to go solo before this album?
I've never have.
No? Never
Never in my life, yeah, it's funny. And last year, I've been the opening guy again. I wrote a song with a guy named Jim Brickman, who's a piano player from the United States, and so I've toured about 100 dates through the States with him as the opening act. Because Good Morning Beautiful became a pretty big hit, especially in the States. It was top 3 in the States, and I think it like top 20 in Canada, and it was amazing. And so Jim was like, okay, you got to come tour with me, and we'll play Good Morning Beautiful, and you'll play a few of your new songs from All Roads, and so yeah. But McMaster and James, a band, and then I was, like I said, producing, songwriting, and now it's come full circle, and now I'm doing like my first ever. Like I've never done it like this before, and like I said, it is a lot of pressure, but it's also a lot of satisfaction, and I'm just making such a connection with when we do the show. I really, like I said, there's a lot of variety, and we don't just come out and just play a bunch of songs. We try to have a conversation with the audience. I really talk a little bit about my life and my experiences and what my songs, and at moments I don't want to just glue myself to the microphone either. I'll step away from the microphone and I'll go right up to the front of the stage, or even kind of sit beside people and just sing to them. Because like I said, when I was growing up, I was like busking on street corners with no microphones and your guitar case open, hoping people throw you a couple loonies, and so I'm used to that situation. I love to share that. I don't really like going to concerts, like nothing against him, but like a guy like a Lil Wayne or something where it's all auto-tuned, where I don't really think he could even sing in real life. I like to show people that, even when you strip away everything, I've really worked hard on my craft, and it's about the music, and I love to just sit here and just strum my guitar and play you guys some songs. It's not always about the bells and whistles, even though we do put on, like I said, we love to put on a great show and entertain people. I like people to leave the concert and go, wow, like that's a hard-working guy, and he really loves his music, and he's not afraid to step out from behind the microphone and really connect with us.
All right, let's talk a bit about that hard work for a couple minutes. What do you think has been your biggest obstacle and your biggest motivator to getting to this point?
Sorry, I'm spilling coffee on my At least he's getting it on. My biggest obstacle and my biggest motivator. My biggest obstacle is spilling coffee on my guitar when I'm doing radio interviews. It makes it really challenging. My biggest obstacle, that's a really good question. There's always times where I think in all of our careers and in all of our lives, like you just feel like this is just too hard, like there's just too many. The obstacle is almost the thought of the obstacle, that staying motivated day in and day out, and whether you're an interviewer, like a journalist or a broadcaster, or you're a musician, there's moments where you're like, wow, how am I going to get to where I really feel like I should be, and it's taking longer than I thought. So another obstacle is just finding that patience to stick to it. And the second half of that was what's biggest motivator?
Yeah.
Yeah. Biggest motivator, honestly, I love writing songs. I learned music and guitar and singing and everything after I started writing songs. And I've always just had melodies and stuff floating around in my head, and they used to drive me crazy, and I was like, I have to learn how to play guitar and sing to capture these songs I have. And, you know, so my songs really motivate me, but another, I'd say even bigger than that, what motivates me is seeing how, even in a small way, I can affect someone in a positive way. And I'll tell you a story. There's a woman that lives, I think, in Ohio with her daughter, and her daughter is 3 years old, and she has heart issues, and she had to have heart surgery. And she was, you know, they were having real problems because she was having panic attacks and stuff, and they were really worried. But she heard Good Morning Beautiful on the radio, and she just became so obsessed with it, fell in love with the song, and they noticed that she would just calm down when they would sing it to her and play it for her. And so they sent me the story of her, and then, you know, she's going into surgery soon, but, you know, can you send her a little note or say hi to her? So I sent her a little YouTube video, and, you know, I hope you're doing okay, and I sang her a bit of the song and on a YouTube video, and after, I guess she got through the surgery, and, like, she was so calm through the whole thing, and her parents were so amazed by how, like, you know, it could have been so much worse, right? So, you know, it's not like I got her through the surgery, but even helping her in that little bit to just keep her calm and maybe put a smile back on her face when she's going through that, that's a motivator. Like that, you know, anything else could happen, and you get that little story and you go, like I always go, it's just all worth it. Everything that I've been going through is all worth it because, you know, it had a positive effect on someone. And, you know, whenever I do a concert and, you know, I play a song like Good Morning Beautiful or All Roads, and I see people smiling, I see people singing along, I see people, you know, put their arms around each other, or, you know, it's an amazing thing to be able to do that for people. And I honestly hope I can just keep doing it until I'm like 100 years old.
Well, you've been giving back a lot through this concert tour. You've been giving back to a different charity every city as well. And where is the money going this time?
The Family Place. And, you know, when we talked about doing this tour, it was just really important to me that we didn't just show up and sell some tickets and, you know, and leave and do the concert and leave town. Like, I really am community building is really important to me, and giving back a little bit is, in any way I can, is really important. And Family Place, you know, they're helping put this all together, and they've been fantastic, and they offer something to families that's just so needed, and you know, it's just such a great message too. So I'm really happy that they're involved.
All right, now, in the past 10, 15 years, you've had lots of opportunity to work with some pretty notable faces in the music industry, and on top of that, you've done lots of different things. The Olympics, I believe, you did that trip with Canadian troops to Afghanistan. What do you think is the biggest thing that stuck out for you, the biggest experience out of all of it?
Well, I went to, going to Kandahar as part of Team Canada to hang out with the troops was definitely a pivotal moment in my career. Like, because some of these soldiers, these Canadian soldiers, you know, whether you agree with the war or not, they're all there. They were all there for a very, you know, they had to be there, and they were doing something incredible. They were really sacrificing so much. And they had this, I just noticed that so many of them had this perception that, you know, that a lot of, back in Canada, that we thought that they were almost like the villains. And just to be able to go, no, you guys are heroes. Like, honestly, you are doing this incredible thing. The reasons for being in the war aside, someone has to do what you're doing and put your life on the line and sacrifice what you're sacrificing, and it's just incredible. I mean, some of these guys are on their, like, second or third tour of duty. I met one guy who had just gotten married and then had to go on an 11-month tour of duty, and then a month after he'd gotten there, he found out that his wife was pregnant, and so he ended up missing the birth of his child. And it's just, you know, talk about a sacrifice. Like, it's just incredible. So that was definitely, you know, that's an experience in my career that I'll never forget.
All right, now, one last question. If you could have a jam session with any music star, past or present, who would it be?
That's such a good question. I would say probably, well, I had one jam session with one that just blew my mind. I got to write a song with Randy Bachman, and that was so surreal, and I was so nervous, and I'm like, I can't believe I get to write a song with Randy Bachman. What am I going to contribute to this? And he was like, he couldn't have been any nicer. You know, he just sat down. He's like, Luke, I can tell you're nervous, but just relax. I like McMaster and James, and I'm excited to write with you. And I'm like, okay. Like, I couldn't believe he even said that. And, you know, we actually became friends after, and he's just a great guy. And he just showed me, no matter what level of success you have, just how people like that can just stay so down to earth, you know. And he loves music. He loves all kinds of music. And it was so cool. I got to just, you know, annoy the, you know, crap out of him, just ask him every question under the sun about all his songs, like American Woman and These Eyes, and, you know, what was he thinking when he wrote this and that. So that was amazing. I'd love to write a song with Neil Young, you know, both from Winnipeg, and just he's an icon, and I just love all of his songs, and I think that'd be pretty cool.
All right, now you got your guitar with you.
Yeah.
It's got a name, doesn't it?
Yeah, you've done your research. Yeah, Goldie.
All right.
And it's actually a very cheap guitar that, but it's funny. I feel like guitars. I have this weird thing where I feel like they have songs inside them. That they're just. It's weird. Every time I get a new guitar, I end up writing a new song. And I remember I had back in the day, probably I guess one of my first jobs that involved music. I was actually a wedding singer.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was singing at this one wedding, and this young couple came up to me, and they were all nervous, and they were just like, we're so excited, and we're getting married, and do you think you'd want to play at our wedding? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Just, you know, I'll just need some details, like what's the address and stuff. And the young lady goes, well, that's the thing about the address. We're getting married in Italy. Oh. And so I was like, when do we leave? And they flew me to Italy. Me and at the time I had this little nylon string guitar. Flew to Italy. And the night before the wedding, I'm sitting there looking out at, you know, the Tuscan sky and just sipping some red wine. And she comes up to me and she goes, Luke, how's the song coming? And I'm like, what song? And she goes, well, my husband, or my fiance must have told you that that's the reason we flew you, you know, thousands of miles to come here. You're a songwriter. We want you to write a song about the wedding and about, you know, Tuscany. And I'm like, oh, that song, yeah, yeah, it's coming. It's nearly done. Meanwhile, I hadn't started anything. So I was just panicked. So I had this idea, the song idea rolling around that I could never find, you know, a title for, and it was just kind of Mediterranean. Like, so it had those kind of chords, and so I'm sitting there again, like it sounds so, you know, like I'm making this up, but I'm staring out at the Tuscan sky, and I was just like, oh, that Tuscan skies, yes. I'll just call it Tuscan Skies, and I'll just write it about their story, and, you know, a little bit, and, you know, a romantic story, and I played it at the wedding the next day, and they absolutely loved it, and they thought I'd written a song just for them, but meanwhile, it was just, I kind of faked it, so, but I actually fell in love with the song, and recorded it for my album, All Roads, and I've been doing it at every concert since, and it's just, you know, great things can come from strange places, right?
All right, well, would you like to play us a song this morning?
Yeah, maybe I'll play Tuscan Skies.
Sure.
Since we were just talking about that.
Sure.
As we're driving top down through the streets of this town, leave it all behind. gonna start a new life. Chase a dream's a spotlight, who knows what we'll find. You don't have to be afraid, as long as I'm with you. We'll make our escape. Everywhere I go on this open road, I'll always be with you. Right here by your side. Oh no, we'll never die. Colors come alive underneath the Tuscan skies. Underneath the Tuscan skies. Through me a lifeline, got to me just in time. Words can't say. If you have found the meaning, love season changing a brand new day. You don't have to be afraid, as long as I'm with you. We'll make our escape. Everywhere I go on this open road, I'll always be with you. I'm here by your side. Our love will never die. Colors come alive underneath the Tuscan skies. Summer's coming on, and I know leaves all turn to gold. There will be promise that I'll make to you forever. To you forever. You don't have to be afraid, as long as I'm with you. We'll make our escape. Everywhere I go on this open road, I'll always be with you. Right here by your side, our love will never die. Your colors come alive. Everywhere I go on this open road, I'll always be with you. Right here by your side, your love will never die. Colors come alive underneath the Tuscan skies. Underneath the Tuscan skies. Underneath the Tuscan skies.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me this morning
Thank you.
on the show. And you can check out the concert tonight, 8 o'clock from McKenna Hall.